This is from Edmonton, and it looks like scenes from a third world country.
Canada's food banks are sounding the alarm.
Increased levels of poverty and hunger are becoming normalized in this country.
Says this country's hunger crisis is worsening at an accelerated pace.
Increased levels of poverty and hunger are becoming normalized in Canada.
Who cares?
The Canadian depression is real. Millions are lining up at food banks, and cities in Canada look like scenes from the Great Depression or scenes from third world countries. You've got crime that is absolutely skyrocketing. You've got the healthcare system that is falling apart. But let's first of all just talk about this skyrocketing chart. So over 25 years, from 1995 to 2020, you saw food bank usage that doubled. And then over 5 years, it quadrupled. It's absolutely insane. You've got over 4.1 million visits to food banks that are happening right now. And the thing is, what is causing this? And now you've got rents that are exploding in Canada in the cheaper cities, which have, funnily enough, housing markets that have been way more resilient. This is a relationship that I've been talking about time and time again between investors and rents. So Canadian real estate investors and the affordability advocates who hate them may want to take note. Soaring rents are no longer being driven by big cities. StatCan data shows one-bedroom rents in Q3 2025 are falling in high-cost markets like Toronto and Vancouver. Meanwhile, cheaper markets are seeing the fastest growth. It's like a classic lake cycle dynamic. Expensive markets hit a ceiling and pressure spills into lower-cost ones. And you've seen this already with places like Calgary and Edmonton, and now it's extending to places like Montreal and places on the East Coast and the Far East Coast as well. And just to give you an idea, this is what's happening in Montreal right now. You've just got the home price appreciation that has gone up and up and up. And the reason why that has happened is if you look at what's going on with rents, they're way above. And most of the cities where rents are actually down are those places where, guess what? Investors have disappeared and they're not coming back.
The condominium market is absolutely dead right now.
And they may have gone out to places like Nova Scotia or Newfoundland or Quebec. Those are the places that they're going where prices are still rising, and most importantly, rents are still rising. So that's what you're seeing happening, and it's a real split that's going on because you've got housing markets that are outright collapsing in some places. Meanwhile, other places are actually reaching new highs, but it's to do with those rents. And now you're seeing places like Edmonton, Calgary that were booming and were part of that spillover where prices are turning and rents are collapsing. And the same thing will carry through to these other markets eventually as well. And then John Flynn posted this: mortgage arrears in Canada for September were higher than any other month over 8 years outside of the start of the scandemic. And now I want to show you this because these are the scenes. This is from Edmonton, and it looks like scenes from a third world country.
Who cares?
And we're going to get on to Toronto as well. But just look at these scenes and what it looks like. I mean, it just looks absolutely miserable. Trash and people living in tents when it's, you know, minus 15, minus 20. Absolutely crazy what is going on. And then if you look at Toronto, it's the exact same thing. You've got these parks right by massive condo buildings where, you know, condos are going for an average price of $600,000. Meanwhile, below, you've got people living in squalor, tents, and just an absolute disaster and depression for many who are out there living in that. I mean, just imagine in winter living in that. And then Danielle Foch posted this chart from the Fraser Institute, which I thought was great. In every province except Manitoba, total government employment growth outpaced the private sector from 2015 to 2024, putting pressure on government finances. And you can see here, the government sector is the yellow and the private sector is the blue. And you can see BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Newfoundland all just massively outgrowing the private sector there. And you can see the only place where the private sector outgrew the government was in Manitoba, and it was only slightly, with the government growing 1.5% and the private sector growing 1.9%.
It will take some sacrifices.
So now you know what is growing the economy. We've seen it time and time before with the data on this channel when it comes to the GDP or the labor market data. You see the exact same theme that is going on there, which is basically the government drives all the numbers, making the numbers hard to believe.
Elbows out. Elbows up.
Making the numbers almost a facade of what the real underlying economy is doing, because guess what? The government, they are actually taking away from productivity. They're not adding anything really to the economy. They're actually adding more bureaucracy, more red tape, more regulation when you actually need a smaller government. And I don't see any party that is advocating for a massively smaller government. I mean, even in places like the United States, that was the promise, and it really has not happened. It really has not materialized.
I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't take full credit.
So if it's not happening there, there's absolutely fucking zero chance of it happening in Canada. And then you've got tens of thousands of Canadians died waiting for medical care in the past year, according to a report. And I break this down in an X post in a minute, and it really is shocking. So the report from public policy think tank secondstreet.org revealed that at least 23,746 patients died in Canada while waiting for surgeries or diagnostic procedures between April 2024 and March 2025. The figures are a 3% increase from the previous year and push the total number of reported waitlist deaths since 2018 to more than 100,000 people. More than 100,000 people have unfortunately died whilst they've been on a wait list for something. It's absolutely insane. And I've been on wait lists for shit before. And you know, a lot of people go and immediately compare to the United States, which has a shit healthcare model as well. The most expensive private healthcare model in the world, where you'll be bankrupted if, heaven forbid, your insurance doesn't cover a procedure. And sometimes people's co-pays can just bankrupt them, or exclusions in policies. So Canada is the worst example of a public healthcare system. And then you've got America, the United States, that is the worst example of a private healthcare system. And it's actually, you need a mixture of both in order to get to a good healthcare model. But you just have the total opposites of each other, both at the worst. And that's what Canada constantly compares itself to, when it should be looking at other countries. And people, MPs like Aaron Gunn, before he was even in Parliament, actually, were already comparing to places like Sweden, where healthcare spending is way less and where the wait times just aren't there. And it's a mixture of a public and a private model that they have in Sweden. So the answer isn't one or the other, it's a combination of both. You've got one death every 22 minutes whilst patients waited for basic surgeries and diagnostic scans. I mean, that's absolutely crazy when you really think about it. Since 2018, the number is now over 100,000 who died waiting for care.
Our standard of living as a country, Canadians, is going to be lower than it otherwise would have been.
People have died waiting for heart surgery, cancer treatment, and even pacemakers. And this is really what universal healthcare looks like when you've got no alternative, and many people in Canada have no alternative. It is just a disaster. And I want to show you this because this was actually reported years ago by The Guardian, but this is now happening. People in poverty are turning to MAID, assisted suicide. And unfortunately, it's what's happening in Canada. But, you know, they're trying to extend more and more MAID to more and more vulnerable parts of the population. And it is really, really distressing what they are doing. And obviously, it seems like almost a globalist agenda.
Yeah, let's say that.
And then you've got Kirk Lubomoff, sorry if I'm butchering that name, who posted this on X. Minister of Industry Melanie Joly, who is hoping to leave Canada herself for a cushy job as ambassador to France. Canada is leading the global tech race. What? It's just absolutely hilarious. And then on the back of that, you've got Joly after Algoma layoffs. That is why we provided $400 million to the company, and Ontario also provided $100 million. $500 million in total. Just take a listen to this part of the clip.
In that sense, we've been working with the company to make sure that they were adapting their business model. And that is why we've provided this fall $400 million
$400 million
to the company, and Ontario also provided $100 $400 million.
So $500 million.
And the goal was to make sure that the company would get through these months while they were working on pivoting and adapting their entire op. We've been working with them also on a new beam steel plant and also a new plate steel plant in order to support the housing sector and also the defense sector.
Does that really
And we think that
sales?
through these investments, there can be more jobs that come back to Algoma, and which will be the case for many steel plants across the country. We also think that our Buy Canada policy is working.
And you know what? The Buy Canada policy is exactly the same protectionist nonsense and bullshit as the United States. I mean, they're literally promoting the same protectionist crap as the United States.
One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada.
I mean, it's absolutely hilarious how people cannot see this. It is just the same policy, just different parties in different countries, and once again just shows a uni-party. But what do you think Algoma is going to look like? I mean, they voted for Liberals, and this is what they're getting.
It will take some sacrifices.
Elbows out.
Elbows up.
I mean, I think you would have had a better negotiator, definitely, in terms of the Conservatives. And this just aged terribly, horribly. And it is basically Justin Trudeau. And obviously, we all saw this clip. I think even I've played it. Take a listen.
Well, we got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steels can help you out.
That's going to keep my job, Dad. That's going to keep my job, Dad. That's going to keep my job, Dad. What about the 40% taxes I'm paying, and I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invest in the car means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year.
Means you're going to have a job for many, many years. Famous last words. 400 million, that's what he said. Means you're going to have a job.
The $400 million that we invest in the car means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year.
And obviously this guy sees straight through the globalist bullshit that is constantly told by these politicians, and fair play to him. I wonder if he's still employed there right now. Who knows? Obviously there's still people working there, but this is the reality of the job market that people are being thrown into, even worse in these rural areas that rely on these big manufacturing facilities that employ lots and lots of people. Take a listen to this.
I have been unemployed since April. It is now mid to end August, so what? I'm looking at 5 months of unemployment. I live in Canada. I have 2 diplomas and a degree. Meanwhile, my sister, who barely has her high school diploma, moved back to Poland and was able to find work within 1 month. I'm trying to not let this get the best of me. But as you can see, I've been upset for a while.
It's absolutely insane when you really think about it, isn't it? But so many people are seeing that sad reality of what the job market is like, and it is a complete depression and a show. It doesn't matter if you've got degrees or diplomas or whatever, because there just aren't the jobs out there, especially if you're in these big cities and immigrant hubs like Toronto. The jobs just aren't there, and it's really a sad reality for a lot of people. And then the deputy to Carney, Liberal Industry Minister Melanie Joly, admitted Tuesday that Joly never bothered to read the contract which granted Stellantis $15 billion in taxpayer-funded subsidies before laying off 3,000 workers. So again, this just continues.
Elbows out. Elbows up.
Where these politicians just do not have a fucking clue what they are doing, and all this money is just being wasted, and it will be forgotten. She'll go off to France, and nobody will ever remember that. And once again, she'll be dining on the taxpayer's dime.
This is delicious.
These people seem to get rewarded for their incompetence. It's absolutely insane. And this is the board right now of where people are going. So you got Melanie Joly, she's eyeing up France. Freeland's off to the UK. Justin Trudeau's off to Beverly Hills, probably. Canada in a depression. So all these people are leaving. They are the architects of the depression in Canada. They're all going, and it's just absolutely hilarious that this is happening. Not one of them is being questioned for all the criminal things that they have done. It's just an absolute joke and just shows what an aristocracy that Canada really is. And once again, how people get rewarded in politics for their blatant incompetence.
Elbows out. Elbows up.
And then you've got this. So Carney will once again be jetting off for more sports-related events when he said he was meeting Trump again soon. This is what he meant. Not for negotiating a deal, but to hang out for the FIFA World Cup draw. Look at them all smiling away, laughing up everybody. What a disaster.
This is the kind of thing I didn't want to get
Look at them all.
into, which is every little exchange. You know, there are substantive meetings and conversations and negotiations, and that's not what I'm alluding to be clear. And next week, next week is an important event for Canada because we are one of the co-hosts, as you know, of the World Cup, and I'll be participating alongside President Trump, the co-host. And the FIFA president, there'll be the selections of the countries for the various groups, Canada included, and I'll see the president around there. But
God, every one of his speeches are just a word salad. Like he just doesn't have a clue what he's saying, essentially. But anyway, they're all going to be jetting off for this Joly soon over to the United States. Mark Carney has been to Asia. He's been to Europe multiple times. He's dining on the taxpayers' money and he is laughing it up. He is laughing it up. Once again, he was put in place by the aristocracy, if you really think about it, because it was the Governor General that prevented that election from happening. It then got delayed and basically you had the election of a new Liberal leader, Mark Carney, the bankster.
Yeah, let's say that.
And then he was elected as well. The mainstream media did a great, fantastic job of making him look like he was going to be a fantastic leader, when in actual fact, he's just another walking disaster. And then Shazzy posted this: forget trades. Canada is lowering wages in real time. The whole job market collapsed so bad that the computer-related immigration stream is now closed. However, they are now trying to get lots of new immigrants into trades, everything from HVAC, painting, and flooring installers. There was an official announcement about it, so watch for all trades to collapse in the next 6 to 10 years. And again, they're probably thinking, oh, we got to get all these people in for the housing market to build all these new homes. Meanwhile, there's no fucking demand for them. I mean, just look at it. The new home sales in places like Toronto, which was the biggest housing market, are absolutely collapsing. The industry is warning of thousands of jobs being gone. There's no growth in the construction industry workforce. It's actually negative year over year. Yet they're bringing in all these people to work in construction. I mean, what the fuck are they going to build? Railways to nowhere like back in the 1920s?
Look at this thing. It's beautiful.
I mean, it's just an absolute joke when you really think about it. And then Stephen Pumwazi posted this: what if it was a terrible idea to let single guys in their 20s plan our cities and boomers control national priorities? Totally kidding. Bike lanes and Cold Wars forever. The number of children being born per woman that is absolutely tanking in all the provinces in Canada right now, which is just another indicator of the depression, because who wants to bring up a family when there's no jobs, when people can't afford the stability, or should I say the optics of stability of buying a home, because it's really not any stability, it's just the optics of it. But that's the reality. People don't have the Canadian dream anymore. The Canadian dream is built on debt, and it's turned into a debt disaster and a debt time bomb, and that's what people are really working out, and you see that. That's why fertility rates are absolutely tanking. And then you've got property crime in Toronto is officially higher than Detroit. In fact, it's also higher than New York. Police are outnumbered. Our weak laws have allowed this to flourish. Halton was once the most desirable and amongst the safest regions in Canada. Today, police are actively suggesting to people to install shatter-resistant security film. This is the norm today. So it's absolutely crazy what you're seeing. And Halton Hills, it used to be a really nice place, a really sought-after place, and really now not anymore. I still have friends that are in Halton Hills in Georgetown. And yeah, it's just absolutely crazy what is happening to that place now. And it's almost been like an invasion in places like Milton have just completely flipped over the past 10 years. And then you've got this: zombie companies, businesses unable to cover their debt payments are at the highest since 2022, according to Bloomberg. So again, this is not a good sign for the global economy and the financial system, but it's just another sign of what's going on here. So what do you think about all these people going to food banks? Do you think it's the Great Depression in Canada that people won't talk about? If you've enjoyed this video, I'd highly recommend you check out this video here. And if you're looking for a VPN and also want to help support the channel, check out the links in the description below. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.